And I'm going to bring out a pencil so I can start sketching. And of course, you know what we want. We want a head, of course. We want a head on our character. I'm going to give him a little bit of a body. You know, it's going to be a cartoon, so let's give him a small body. Let's give him a small body, kind of stick figure-ish thing is what we're going for here. A little bit of a body. That looks good already. And I go through this every time I have to create a character. Like, it's not funny. You have to start from scratch. I usually start all my characters from scratch. And I don't just dive into, you know, this general character of a general idea of a character that you don't know. And you can see, as soon as we hear, ideas start coming to me. Now that I'm right here, I think we can give him a little bit of a bow tie here. I'm not going to dress him up, so he'll have that tie over there. And a little bit of anatomy comes in here now, where you want to give him a little bit of definition, a little bit. And remember what we said in our face, we want to give him eyes because we're going to do a blink cycle. You want to give him eyes. And if you guys are drawing along, you can slow it down a little bit. But I believe I'm going at a very, very good pace because I'm talking over it. So usually that slows me down a little bit. And we're gonna give him a nose, kind of. And we're going to give him a little mouth to start with because this is just a resting position mouth. But we can always, now that I cut the eyes down like this, let's give him kind of, you know, a little bit of a smile. Not a frown like I'd given him earlier on. And I'm going to give him eyebrows because I'm going to use those to illustrate, you know, a bunch of emotions on his face. So now you see we already have the body, we have the eyes, we have the mouth and nose, and one thing that we don't have yet is the hair. I don't think I'm gonna give him hair, really. It's not gonna make a lot of sense, so I'm gonna leave him right there. But let me define the eyes a little bit more. And there is a reason as to why I'm drawing these eyes like this, and you guys will see it. It actually helps a lot. It will help a lot when we reach that level when we're going to be animating the eyes. It will help to know why we drew the eyes like this. And I'll explain more as we go into this series a little bit more. But let's draw the eyes like that. Not going into the details yet or doing anything fancy. I just indicate here to know those are eyes. Put those in a little bit there, shade them in a little bit, just to indicate their eyes, because we're going to use those to actually make him blink a little bit. And the only kind of cloth he's going to have on is going to be this little bow tie over here. Me exaggerate it a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. Little shoulders and a little bit of a palm there, because we may want him to open those up or do something with them. And that looks good. So that's good for the sketch. So what I usually do at this level, I knock those down a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and add another layer on top of that. And I'll knock down the original layer's opacity down. And if you don't know how to do that, to knock down the opacity, you go here where it says 100. And you tap on it. And you slide down your pencil. And you can see the opacity of the sketch starts to go down. And I usually knock it down about until 25 to 30%. So 31% looks good. And now let's go make sure that we're on the right sketch. We're on the right layer. So we're going to go on to layer 2. And we're going to make now a better sketch with a little bit more definition. But still, we haven't reached where we want to be to ink it in. So I usually draw in levels. The first level is just defining a little bit of an idea of a character that I want to create. As you see, we did there on layer 1. So now we're just continuing to define him a little bit more and coming up with a more vivid sketch than we had on the first draw. And some of these things don't actually matter, because what's going to happen is we're going to draw only one side. For example, for the eyes, we're going to draw only one side, and we will have to duplicate it and bring it to the other side. Oops, that's going bizarre. But you can see I zoomed in here a little bit more so we can see what we are working with a little bit better. This always happens to me. For some reason, I draw the left eye better than the right eye. And there's a reason as to why we will create only one eye as we go into the blink cycle. We'll create only one eye, and then we will duplicate it as we go along and bring it on the other side. And I'll show you all that. So with animation, it's mostly repetitive work. You have to be able to repeat the work over and over and over again. Oops. Where do we get a eraser? We need a pencil, not an eraser. And I mentioned that this is not actually a drawing software, but rather a simple animation software. And you'll be surprised to see how much you can do with FlipaClip, guys. But I strongly suggest that you teach yourself FlipaClip instead of looking up what other people are doing online, because you'll get way overwhelmed. Animation is not how good you can draw, but animation, okay, how good you can draw, actually, solid drawing in animation is a very good trick or skill. But it's so important to know the principles of animation. And if you just look up work online to see what people are doing, that's when you're going to get frustrated, because you don't know the level at which those people are at in their career, or how good they can animate. But when you just land on their work, you'll get disappointed, especially because they're using the same software you're using, but the results could be totally different. And so I strongly suggest that you find tutorials, you teach yourself here and there until you feel like you are. And who says you have to adopt their style? You can always have your own style of animation, and you can always create your own. And so that's why for me, most of these things, I even just take them out of my head and create original stuff, something original. Artwork feels way much better if it's original and it's something that actually came from your heart. And so our character now is starting to take very beautiful form here. You can see he's kind of blah. He's just over there. He's not showing anything in particular. And for this character, what we're gonna do is we're just going to animate his facial expressions, a little bit of blinking, a little bit of all that. But later on, we will start playing around with how to animate walk cycles and all that stuff. But yeah, so at this level, you can see what we have here. We have a little bit of character creation going on here, and this is when you start to develop a little bit. Now you want where you want the shadows to be, where you want the light to be, hitting what side. You can see that is starting to take form over there. A little bit on his pants and on this side. just to make things look a lot uniform, and that way it will make more sense. So now we're gonna have it dark on that side. All that will come into play in shading. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna forget this label, turn it off all the way, and now I have only this layer right here. So this is the layer I'm going to call this my sketch now. Sketch. But this is layer number 2. And so I'm going to add another layer, and this is where now the real concentration starts and the real drawing. So what's going to happen, I'm going to go to this second layer and I'm going to knock it down all the way to about 50%. And I'm going to go to my layer number 3, where I'm supposed to start inking now. And FlipaClip, remember, doesn't have a lot of options when it comes to drawing tools. So what you have here is you're going to have one inker. It's one size fits all, and you can increase it here or decrease it. I usually want it around 5. Around 5. Yeah, 5 is good. Let me actually knock it down a notch to 4. Yeah, 4 is going to be good. And it's pressure sensitive. You can see when you press down, it gives you a bigger stroke. And so now here's where we're going to go to the interesting stuff. When I go here, I'm going to bring in my circle, and this is going to be the game changer here. I'm trying to get the shape of his head, squeeze it a little bit to fit kind of my sketch. I know my sketch is freehand, it's a little bit off. Let me make sure I'm on the right layer, layer number 3. And this is where the fun comes in now. So we're going to start inking it. And the results after this, guys, you're going to see it's going to look like something that was made by a different software. It's going to look like an artwork that was created maybe by maybe Adobe Animate or something like that. But it's actually a FlipaClip. And this is why I said you have to put into consideration what skill level somebody's art in order before you start following their work and letting their work, kill your morale. And so we have the mouth set in and the head. While I'm doing this, I'm going to put the eyes on a different layer, and I'm going to put the head and the body on a different layer because I'm going to be animating the eyes. I'm not going to be animating the head or the mouth or the nose. I'm going to be only animating the eyes, eyebrows, and the eyes for this project. And let's go back and bring our circle back. And it's the same circle that you have that you can turn into an oval, or you can turn into let me see. Adjust that angle a little bit to fit my sketch, and you can see right there I have something that is close to where my hand is supposed to be going. Bring my inker in and ink that one. And this is the trick I use to create work that looks like you did not even create it through FlipaClip. I had an argument with one of my artist friends earlier on when he says, you did definitely not create that with that application, because he could not see work from FlipaClip looking that clean. But hey, with this, you can give your work a very, very clean look. And I'm not going to get tired of saying that because I really actually like it. And so here, it gets kind of tiresome because you're going to be repeating one thing over and over again. You're going to be, every line that I want to create on there, I want to create it with this tool. I want to create it with this tool so it feels a lot Perfect. And so what's gonna happen now, I'm gonna go ahead and speed up this video until I finish doing these lines, and I'll be back. And while we're still here, I'm gonna go ahead and color it in. Draw in that part of the eye. There we go. Whoops. That's not cool. I zoomed out a lot, so I was kind of missing it. I just want to make sure these two are the same size. At least so he doesn't look like he's cross-eyed too much. But yeah, so that's done. Bring my eraser in here, tap on this a little bit to shove it back in. And in the next video, now we use this one to ink. In the next video, I'm going to be coloring him in. And I hope you guys like this. If you like this, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And let's FlipaClip grow together. So, that was video number 1. And in video number 1, we did both the sketches and we did the inking. So in video number 2, we're going to be doing the coloring in. And if we can get to it, we'll start moving around some parts to get some animation going. But as for now, thank you so much for watching, guys. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you again tomorrow with video number 2 in the